On today's show, Media Day is around the corner. What would you ask a Dallas Maverick if you could? Luka Doncic was asked if the Mavericks need another All-Star. His answer kind of surprised me, kind of didn't. We'll talk about that and more, and we'll hear from Dirk on today's Locked On Mavs. Let's go.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Hey, Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. Where the best way you can help us grow this show is to comment anything below. What's one question you would ask any current Maverick at Media Day? You're sitting in front of them. You've got them. You can ask him any question, and nothing's off the table. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. And joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor, writer at Mavs.com, the Media Day darling, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
All right, I kind of upped my weights tonight and my workout, and doing a little Ryan Russillo.
I'm so sore. Beefcake over here.
I'm so sore right now. I don't even know. I just want to go lay in my bed. That's all I want to do. But you know what I will not think about? AI Luka. Because that's one of the creepiest things I've ever seen in my life.
3 weeks ago, I've been going to this gym, and I went to this class, and I walked into it, and I had no idea what it was, and they didn't have like levels on it on the sign up or anything. I was like, well, I'll just go and see what happens. I walked in, the guy was like, what's your workout level? I was like, oh, I'm a 0. Like, I'm a straight up 0. And he goes, well, nobody's a 0. He gave me the sword and the stone. Like, at least
that's good.
At least you have muscles, right? Like you can at least move around. So you're at least a 2. Like, you could walk in here, so you're at least a 2. And I was like, okay. He goes, this is an advanced class. And I like immediately died. Like the rest of the way. But AI Luka is very much alive. We'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, Media Day. Media Day is the time that basically kicks off the Dallas Mavericks season. If you don't know what Media Day is, it's basically just it's picture day. It's like the first day of school. It's a spot for all media to gather and to get questions answered for all the players. They'll come in. And they've set it up different ways over the last couple of years. But mostly they have stations that each player will have like a person that guides them around and gives them to different stations. Some of them are like Getty Images or USA Today Images, and they'll take their headshot that you see on ESPN.com or whatever. They'll take those pictures. They'll do a bunch of stuff that goes on the video board throughout the year. They'll please refrain from fighting and violence. Like when they read that thing in the AAC, you see that they read that at Media Day. The let's go everyone clap. The get up like hype videos. They do those. You hear them screaming down the hall, and it's a big time for media to ask questions. And so let's start with this. What's the biggest question for the Dallas Mavericks going into Media Day?
Yeah. Yeah. So Media Day is coming up. Monday, like you said, big time day, a lot of fun. It feels like the season just freaking ended. Like it feels like we were just in Golden State like 2 weeks ago.
To you, maybe.
It does. It feels like this NBA season. It feels like this NBA off season just like flew by.
No. Last off season was like a month. We had like no off season the last 2 years. This one felt like forever. I feel like I haven't watched a NBA basketball game in so long.
It just feels like we've been watching Luka play basketball. So it's like, all right, I've been watching like the Mavs in a sense, but also like the Durant stuff lingered and like all the Utah stuff. And then they've like slowly trickled to where now it's like, oh crap, we're starting. Like here we are.
I'm ready for it. I'm chomping at the bit.
But for the Mavs, I think the biggest storyline, there's a couple different storylines, but I just want to know how they talk about Christian Wood. Like that's I want to hear everybody. I want to hear how he talks about it. He's going to get asked by everybody, about like his role for next season. Yeah. Like what he sees it as. How is he approaching it? Is he going to sit there and say, man, it's gonna be the all-star tweet, that came, is he gonna be like, no, I'm a star, I'm one of the best guys on this team? Like,
he tweeted a little while ago that Derrick Rose, when he was playing in Detroit, told him in 3 years you'll be an all-star, and this is year 3 for him since that tweet. And so he tweeted that like this summer. So is that going to be something that gets brought up to him?
Yeah, I wonder how much of it is going to be, hey, whatever the team wants, I'm going to do. Like, if it's going to be about, I want to win a title, or is it going to be about, this is going to be, I'm so fascinated about it. And I want to hear how Jason Kidd talks about it too. Is this a challenge? Is this all of that? That's my number one thing.
I think I'm more so in the camp of, I want to see how the team presents him, because in media day, and it's like training camp in the front of the season, and media day starts basically training camp. Training camp starts the next day. So we'll have practices and there'll be more people talking throughout the week. But media day is like when all right, this is how we're gonna present this team this year. I'm interested to hear about, if Jason Kidd and Nico Harrison double down on we exceeded expectations last year. Remember in exit interviews and right after the Western Conference Finals, they mentioned a couple different times we exceeded expectations this year, and so kind of quell your expectations for next year because we exceeded them this year. That shouldn't be the standard for next year. And in the same way, I want to hear about Christian Wood, and I want to hear how they present him. Is Nico Harrison going to double down on it's a prove it year. It's a prove it year for him. It's a prove it year for us. We have to see what happens. Or do they present him as, we've gotten a chance to see him. Like, we've been able to see him work and everything.
So I want to, be able to touch the car.
Jason Kidd got to touch the car, and now all of a sudden they're bought in, right? If they're bought into Christian Wood and there's a tone change from where they were when they first traded for him, that'll be really interesting. I don't think it'll happen, but it'll be interesting to see how they present him to the media, basically.
Yeah, because all we're working with is basically the Nico quote and then what everybody's reporting. I think the second thing, I think you can make an argument that this is just as important, if not bigger than the Christian Wood story, is how do they address the backup ball handling role?
For sure.
Is it just the pure, Greg St. Jean on this podcast was talking about, hey, I don't see too many scenarios in which Dinwiddie or Luka is not on the floor. Are they going to lean into that a ton? Or is it going to be the Frank Ntilikina show? Like, are we going to see a big endorsement of Frank Ntilikina as, hey, we think Frank can be the guy off the bench that can handle the ball. People are overlooking him, like stuff like that. I want to hear how they talk about that. And if they talk about it in a way, like they're not going to get up and say, yeah, we're trying to find one on the market right now. Our roster's incomplete. Like, they're not going to say that. So.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting if we heard them say the roster's incomplete, because losing Brunson is probably going to be a topic on Media Day too, back to the ball handler thing. And Luka was on ESPN. Is it still called The Jump? It's called NBA Today now, with Malika Andrews, one of those shows.
I think she's great. I just don't know the name of the show.
Yeah, she's great. Some of the people on there are great. I don't know the name of the show. Was asked about if the Mavericks need another All-Star to get to the finals since they didn't make it last year. And Luka said, quote, I think we have great players on our team. There's plenty very underrated guys that I think should be talked about more. And now with Brunson gone, I don't know how much they're going to be leaning on some of those guys. How many questions can they answer as far as roster building? Because they didn't really take a huge step forward. They took a step forward in some areas and a step back in others. And so now they're going to have to answer that question in Media Day with the third ball handler and the other star, or their second best player. They have to answer that in two ways because of losing Brunson.
Yeah, and how much will the media lean into it? Or how much will we lean into it as the media? And asking the questions of, hey, why do you think Brunson left? What was those conversations like? When did you know that Brunson was leaving? How big of a hole is this going to be? Do you think you're better this year after losing Brunson? How much of it's going to be focused on Brunson? I know fans don't want to hear that, and they're like, just turn the page, move on. But I think it might be something that some media ask. I want to hear more about the JaVale McGee edition too. I know that's kind of like an under the radar one.
And then he's starting.
Yeah, I just want to hear about, we know the veteran experience, championship experience. They're gonna really play that up a lot. And that, him starting and stuff. But I just want to hear about it. I want to hear about Kidd and their relationship and it just adding him as a starting center and playing with Luka.
Yeah.
JaVale McGee.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait till he dunks on somebody really big or gets a game-saving block or something, and I just get to hit that over and over again after a win. Interested to hear about that. Interested to hear about, you mentioned the ball handler, like the backup ball handler. They have this trio of guys in Frank Ntilikina, Josh Green, and Jaden Hardy. That when Greg St. Jean, assistant coach to the Mavericks, was on our show with you, he mentioned those guys. I was like, hey, we don't have a third ball handler, but we're going to do it by committee a little bit. We don't think that there will be a time when Luka or Dinwiddie are off the court. One of them will be on the court at all times, but we also have this committee that we're going to try out and see what happens with those guys. Now, is that just an assistant coach kind of pumping up his guys a little bit? Probably, but I'm interested to see how they present those guys, how they present Hardy, because they made a trade for Hardy. And we learned who did we learn this from recently, that the Mavs would have just, it was Tim McMahon mentioned that they would have just drafted they would have just drafted Jaden Hardy at 26.
So they basically traded expirings in 2 seconds for Christian Wood.
Because with the transitive property, let's do the math, carry the one, and then all of a sudden they got the guy they wanted anyway.
Do you care about Josh Green's role at all?
I care about how they present Josh Green. I do care about that, because I think now what are we in year 3?
We're at decision point now. Like, what are you?
This is the year.
Yeah. How do they view him? There's not a clear-cut role for him. So how are they going to present that?
This is year 3 for Josh Green. It feels like longer, but these last couple of years have been so weird. And I wonder if they use that as any kind of...
It's because those like dribbling in circles with Rudy just standing there looking at him.
Oh, it took years off my life.
Yeah.
Every missed open 3 in the playoffs, Jason Kidd was like, no, we can't.
Our friend Bobby Corrales was on this pod earlier this week. Big fan of Josh Green. So I'm sure.
Yeah, he's a big fan of Dwight Powell too.
And every Maverick. Bobby, you state media guy, you.
Mavs State Media over there in Studio 41. I'm interested to see how they present Josh Green, because I'm fascinated to see him. Like, I kind of want to, like, Fan Jam is next week, and I want to see him playing Fan Jam. Like, what does he look like?
You know exactly what he looks like.
You hate Fan Jam so much, and I love it.
Please do a segment breaking down like on-off splits.
I'll keep my own stats. Like at a baseball game, when you keep your own stats on the page, I'll keep mine. Coming up, let's get into a couple of storylines, things that we want to answer at Media Day. We'll talk about some Media Day bingo that we do every year, where we talk about things that we know for sure will be talked about. And then we'll talk about the NBA season, because there's some stuff that happened. Bojan Bogdanovic got traded, and it wasn't for a package that we thought. Could the Mavs have gotten into it? What happened? We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about BetOnline. It's the best place to check out the odds and lines in sports. You can go to BetOnline. You can't bet on any of these storylines at Media Day, but you can bet on actual basketball things. There's futures right now. They have who the Suns' next owner is going to be.
Don't go through that list.
You ready? Number 1.
No.
Jeffrey Bezos. Come on, Jeffrey, you can do it. He's plus 200. Bob Iger, former Disney runner guy.
Sorry, Mickey doesn't have that much money.
Plus 300. I don't think he does have enough money. Elon Musk is plus 800. Bill Gates is plus 1600.
Twitter, Suns.
Well, the thing is, he was going to get $44 billion for Twitter. It wouldn't take that much to get the Suns.
All right, that's true.
You can bet on all kinds of different things. There's team wins. The over-under for the Dallas Mavericks is 48.5 still, so you can bet on that. Go check it out. It's BetOnline. It's where
get that over.
It's where the game starts. All right, Isaac Harris. Let's talk a little bit more about Media Day. We love it because we love narratives. We love storylines. What's a storyline you're looking at Media Day?
Well, we talked about him a little bit. I just want to hear about Luka's approach to this year. Like, you made, might get a chance to ask Luka this, but you made the Western Conference Finals. You've won at all these levels. Like, what's your approach to this year? Did you change anything this offseason, or obviously you played in Eurobasket, but how are you approaching this? Is there another level you're looking to get at? You're already looking at yourself like, hey, I'm already top 5. Like, I just got to stay at that level. what is that? How is he approaching? How are they going to talk about it?
There's a Western Conference Finals question in there where it's like he hit a wall at a certain point. Like I even noticed in some of the later games, he realized
the wall was Golden State Warriors.
Well, yeah, there's a point where he realized they weren't going to win, and you just see his countenance kind of shift in that. And I'm pretty sure we even mentioned it in our post game shows. And I just wonder if he thinks about that or if he thought about it. He probably doesn't. Like the way that he approaches the game, he just like. It's like a goldfish. I mean, he takes the Ted Lasso quote seriously. It's like, be a goldfish, Sam. But yeah, I'm curious if there's got to be a way to craft that. And so I'm interested to ask that about Luka. His AI, is it going to be Luka at Media Day, or is he going to send his AI to impersonate him in some way?
You know, here's the thing. We're in our early 30s, and we're right at this age now to where things happen to where I'm like, oh crap, like I feel kind of old. Like was like
Mavrello one of those things?
Well, okay. Well, and it's like, I watch like an award show.
That face is it's worth it to watch the YouTube video just to see Isaac's face when I ask this question.
Like I watch an award show and I'm like, I don't know half the people who just won awards. That's when I feel old.
Oh, the VMAs, you're like, I
don't know some of these people. When Luka dropped his AI thing, I was like, 1, this seems creepy. 2, what is the purpose? And 3, I'm just old because I don't know the answer to the first 2.
So it's a thing that happened on Twitter today. It's like it's an AI, artificial intelligence, not like Allen Iverson. But it's a Twitter account that has this video of Luka as an AI robot. Not even a robot. It's like Janet from the Good Place.
It's not a robot. Yeah, don't call it a robot.
Yeah, it's like Janet from the Good Place, not a robot.
It could be Janice from
from Friends?
What's Iron Man's?
Jarvis.
Yeah, there you
Jarvis.
go.
That's a good one. Friday.
They're gonna like obliterate me now in the comments.
Give me that one too. No, it's fine. You just got the name confused. But anyway, apparently this Luka AI on Twitter is gonna take a Q&A on tomorrow. It's on today, on Friday, if you're listening and watching this at like 2 p.m. Yeah, 2 p.m.
I just know I have memes for days built off this for the season.
Yeah, when Luka looks uninterested in a game, we'll just put that clip of his AI. But anyway, so
Luke AI. It's not even Luka, it's Luke AI.
Oh yeah, without the A. It's LUC and then or LUK and then .AI. So it's like Luka I.
But stand on the Luka train real quick.
It looks like it looks exactly like him, but
stand on the Luka stuff. Get your Luka ones.
Oh,
going on sale and all that. So I can honestly say these are some of the most comfortable basketball shoes I've ever put on my feet. And I'm not just hyping them up because it's freaking like Luka. They really are. And I don't. Now you're tripping me out now.
Well, you can't see it. They can't see it.
Oh, you mean put it right here?
Yeah, in the middle.
Here we go. Some of the most comfortable basketball shoes I've ever put on my feet. And I'm not like
he's worn a lot of shoes, guys. I've been to his house.
And a lot of basketball shoes. And the heel support means a ton to me in basketball shoes. So
all right, coming up, we're sponsored by Jordan.
Sponsored by Luka
Jordan ones. Put them on your feet. You'll get
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
A seat at the table.
Put them on your feet, and your team will get a seat. Bojan Bogdanovic was traded from the Utah Jazz to the Detroit Pistons. So all of that contender talk, I'm sure every single contender Locked On show that covers a contending team talked about Bojan Bogdanovic at a certain point. It's got to take a first, maybe 2 firsts to get him. Instead, he just goes for Kelly Olynyk and Saben Lee, which I guess the Jazz needed a center, but do the Jazz even really care about the players on their team?
They don't need anything.
They don't care about, like, even Jazz beat writers were talking to their fans on Twitter saying there's you can't say, oh, we needed this position, so that's why we brought them in. Saben Lee played 48 games for the Pistons last year, so he's not a player that it's
no,
like.
This is Danny Ainge saying, you know what we need in Utah? Another big white dude.
So they go from $2 million under the luxury tax to $7 million under the luxury tax. So they don't take money back. They don't take long-term money back. Bojan was 34 years old. He's on an expiring deal. It was $19 million. So like there's That's the only reason I could even come up with when I saw this happen today, that I thought, okay, well, at least they got some more tax relief. They're not taking any long-term money back. Kelly Olynyk is, a center that's serviceable for them, whatever. I just don't get how he didn't get a first, and I was curious how the Mavericks couldn't have done this deal because they couldn't cobble together enough salaries to make it worth the Jazz's while, and they couldn't give him as much relief as the Pistons could, I don't think.
That's what they should have held on to him probably, and you could have gotten the first later on in the season. But if their main goal was to relieve some salary, from their books, then that's what happened with Detroit, because Detroit had cap space. So Bogdanovic making 19, I think Olynyk and Saban Lee made around 14, 15 or something like combined, that. So it was a difference of $5 or $6 million. Now it makes sense if Utah goes out there and makes a trade for somebody else and they take back a little bit more money, because before that trade, they were around $2 million, they were $2 million close to the tax. They don't want to be paying no tax when you suck. Now they're $6, $7, $8 million away from the tax line. So they could go out and make a bigger trade and take back a little bit more money and still be under the tax now. That's the only thing that makes sense. But I was pissed, like every contender. I was just pissed off saying there has to be a pick in this, right? Because I'm all right, we have expiring contracts. If it's about future money, we got that. So
what would you rather have? Taylor Horton-Tucker and Stanley Johnson, or Kelly Olynyk and Saban Lee? That's what they got. No. Those are the 4 players they got for Patrick Beverley and Bojan Bogdanovic.
I mean, for where they don't want to be good, they don't want to win games, and Beverly and Bojan would help them win games.
Yeah,
and you're taking swings on. I mean, obviously Danny Ainge has a relationship with Kelly Olynyk for Boston. He probably really likes him as a locker room guy.
He really was happy about him wearing the flat bill, the snapback hat in his wedding. Just love that. It's all about that, Danny Ainge. Love the way
he'll look good in the new rebrand.
Love that yellow. It's gonna go with your skin tone really well. And then he loved how he dislocated Kevin Love's shoulder in the finals. He's or the Eastern Conference Finals. Loved it.
But I don't know. I was frustrated by it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with Clarkson and Conley.
Did this trade give you any hope that those other 2 guys might not cost a lot? Because they just didn't get any picks for Beverly or Bogdanovic now. So Conley, I don't know, would they take Dwight and Davis for Mike Conley and for Rudy Gay? That trade works.
Yeah, I still don't think they want to take back long-term money at all. So that's the whole thing.
It's only 1 year longer with Davis's 3 years and Mike Conley's 2 years. So
yeah, I'm still watching the Jordan Clarkson situation. There's an easy path for the Mavs at that, and yeah, anyway.
Interesting. So there you go. Coming up, let's get into let's talk about Dirk. Dirk spoke to WFAA and he talked about the Mavs this season. And then the Mavericks full roster came out. So there's a couple of guys that have been given training camp invites. And so we'll talk about those guys coming up. All right, Isaac Harris. Dirk Nowitzki. You know the guy? Heard about him?
Fun fact. I was outside playing baseball with my son this afternoon. And then we started playing basketball. And I said, hey, Rome, who's your favorite basketball player? He looks at me. Dirk.
That's right. Did he try the one like
Luka? He said, I like Luka too. I was like, that's my man.
Whatever makes you happy, Dad.
I just love that he said Dirk first. I was expecting Michael Jordan because we watched more Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Probably anybody, but
hot man, the hot player.
Dirk Nowitzki spoke with WFAA. It's on their YouTube channel, so go check it out, the whole interview. He's talking about his Dirk celebrity tennis match, which is on Sunday, which is a big deal. Luka Doncic is going to be there. Steve Nash is flying in. I think Andy Roddick is going to be there. Ben Stiller, like Ben Stiller, the Zoolander, is going to be there. And director of Severance, he made a comeback with that Severance. Love that show. They're going to be there for the celebrity tennis match. Everything benefits the Dirk Nowitzki Foundation, so great stuff. I'll probably be there on Sunday. But he spoke with WFAA, and they asked him about...
Hey, I want to add something real quick. We've both been to this event before. I've covered this event. It's, people like Owen Wilson, all, professional tennis players. It's a really, really cool event at SMU's tennis complex. If you can go to this thing.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun. It's fun to see the players out there like Luka and these guys. Like everybody's super relaxed and chill. There's a lot of times there's some older Mavs that show up to that. Like I was walking through like the little tunnel and like rubbed shoulders with Brian Cardinal. I'm like, oh, cool. Brian Cardinal's here. Like,
did he have like a garbage can and like a bag? And was he then a mop? Was he like going?
Yeah, he was
it?
mopping up some things. But no, just if you can go to the event, it's really, really cool event. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, an incredible event. It's coming up. You can get tickets at like SMU's. I think it was SMU's website, like event website or something like that. That's where I saw them. But yeah, Dirk's celebrity tennis match. And he spoke with WFA about this year's Mavericks. So let's hear Dirk's thoughts about this season's Dallas Mavericks.
I got to ask you a Mavs question. Obviously, last year finally broke through the first round for the first time since you guys did, winning the championship in 11. What do you kind of expect for this season, building off that success from last year?
Well, you always think further. You want the off season, you want to take the next step. If you're this far and you're in the top four, it's sometimes hard to take that next step, So we'll just have to wait and see how this season goes. I think we have the great core in place with Luka. We can build around. I think, of course, we have the coaches and everything in place. They showed that last year. And, we'll just have to wait and see how the season goes. I think, losing Brunson is of course tough. He was a very big part of what we're doing the last few years. But hopefully by adding Timmy Hardaway back in the mix and some other guys, we can make up for it. But sometimes it takes a while to build something, and last year was a fun year, and let's see if we can build on that and have the right pieces in place to repeat that and see what happens.
What do you think about Dirk now saying that they have this core in place, and Luka talking about the Mavs have these underrated players that people need to talk about more? Is that kind of the only answer that they can give right now? It feels like there's not the Mavs don't have enough for them to get excited about. They have to give these blanket statements a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're making the bingo card for media day, the adding Tim Hardaway back to the team is center block.
Is that like a free agent addition for you guys? Like, is that what you guys would consider that?
Like, everybody's going to reference that. Yeah. I mean, Greg St. Jean already did on this pod.
I know.
So Jason Kidd, Nico, like everybody's going to talk about. I mean, Dirk did in this. Like, hey, we're getting Timmy back. So and it is a big deal.
It's good.
But yeah, I think that's the only thing they can say, right? Like even Luka, on ESPN, it's like he's not gonna. About the second All-Star thing. Like he's not
we don't have any good players on our roster. We need to get better.
Yeah. I mean, Luka can't get up there and say, we're a good team. We made it to the conference finals, but in order to, reach that next step, we'll see who can get in here to be the second star. Like he's not going to say that. So he believes in his teammates. I think it's really good leadership. It's a really good telling thing from him because he doesn't have to endorse his teammates. He can just say, hey, yeah, we got a good team. I can't wait for the season. But he really pushes forward to say like they're underrated and name some names and stuff. Like that's really cool if you're Dorians of the world hearing Luka on national TV talking about how underrated you are.
Yeah, Luka in that ESPN interview with Malika Andrews mentioned, okay, well, who are the underrated players then if the Mavs have these underrated players? He mentioned Dorian first, then Dinwiddie, then Christian Wood. And I think those three guys are really the big key outside of Luka, the big key to this season. If those three guys hit their stride and are playing, an incredible level, then and maybe make it in the top 100. Like maybe one of those guys should have been in the ESPN's top 100. But those guys, the Mavericks season kind of revolves around a little bit this year because they have at least Dinwiddie and Christian Wood have the swing of being super good or being like, replacement level player that doesn't help the Mavericks. The Mavericks roster is set, and we know pretty much all the players that were going to be on there. There was really no surprises except for the Mavericks they have 5 training camp guys that have been added, and we've talked about some of them. Mohamedou Gueye, we've talked about. He's a guy that played at Pitt last year, and he's a 6'10", big with a 7'3" wingspan. Got a bunch of different skills. That he can do. He can shoot pretty well. He's got he's an incredible shot blocker. All that kind of stuff, really athletic for his size. You have Tyler Hall, who played for the Knicks G League team the last 3 years. He's a 41% three-point shooter, over the last three years. You have Marcus Bingham, who played on the Mavs Summer League team. He's the big center for Michigan State that can kind of shoot the three, but didn't really in college. So he's kind of an interesting guy. Your guy, McKinley Wright, played 4 years at Colorado. He was a two-way player for Minnesota last year, like a solid playmaker, but he's kind of undersized. Can't shoot that well, but he plays with really good energy. He popped a little bit in some of the Summer League things for the Suns. And then DJ Stewart was the new name that we hadn't seen before. He's 23 years old, played for Sioux Falls in the G League last year, Mississippi State before that. He's 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan. I asked Richard Stayman, Mavs draft, about him, of course, because that's who I go to every time I have one of these guys. He said in college he had all the tools, but he needs to learn how to use them. He's got a clean form shooting the ball and a pretty good floater, plus athlete with some good upside. So that's a guy I'm really interested to see in training camp. But that's sort of how the Mavs training camp roster rolls out with a couple of spots open.
Yeah, so 20 roster spots going into camp. When you look at the breakdown of the roster, you're going to have 15 total roster spots, two ways. Tyler Dorsey has one of those 2 ways now. The other 2 ways opened up. And so you kind of do your math. You're kind of like looking at the roster already saying, all right, you see who's going to make the roster for the most part. These guys will battle it out for the other 2-way spot. We'll see how many of them go to, Frisco, but you never know, right? Like I feel like I reference this all the time, but I remember going, to that whole training camp and Salah Mejri.
Oh, I thought you were going to say at Media Day last year that Jalen.
Did y'all know that we talked? But Sam Dallenberg had a guaranteed contract. Salah Mejri was a camp guy, and Salah beat him out. And Dallenberg got released, and Salah made a roster. And it's like, so it's never a lock, it's never a guarantee. But out of those guys, I like McKinley Wright. He's small. But he's a feisty guy. He's a good defender in college. Some Colorado connections. Spencer Dinwiddie's a Colorado guy, and he's going to be rooting for him. And they got a big brotherhood of alum between all those guys. Chauncey Billups kind of head of that Colorado basketball brotherhood alum, and I learned about all that when I wrote a story about Tyler Bay a few years ago, and I thought it was really cool hearing him about all the Colorado alum. But
pour one out for everybody that was like really invested in Tyler Bay and thought that he was like the next like wing that the Mavs could get. I'm interested in Mo Gee. When he first got signed, I reached out to Nick Faribaugh of our Locked On Pitt podcast, and he gave me a whole breakdown about him, about how he runs really well for his size. He's one of the best shot blockers he's ever seen at Pitt. Like a really magnetic player on defense. He can pick and pop on the other end and shoot the three with consistency. He's not really a post big, but he can be a backline defender and a bunch of different stuff. So I think he kind of fits what the Mavs want in one of these bigs, and I can see his skill set work in the NBA. So interested to see that. Maybe he makes a 2-way, maybe he doesn't. I don't see any of these guys filling a roster spot. Like I think the Mavs are pretty keen on keeping that open for flexibility and seeing what happens. So there you go. That's what's going on with the Mavericks. We'll be at Media Day, so you'll hear from us from there, and it'll be all kinds of fun that we'll talk about whatever comes out of it with Luka Doncic and all that. So stick around back on Sunday. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Now go check out the Locked On NBA show. We've got the BetOnline top 50 players, the players that impact the lines the most. I'm dropping episode 4 tomorrow morning probably, so go check that out, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.